Hello, today we will be testing out a Mavic 3 Pro and we will figure out does it worth to shoot at 5.1K or 4K is enough, and also how aperture affecting the sharpness of the video. So let me just start screen recording. Okay, so we're live. Now let me take off. Let's switch to manual focus. Okay, that's good.
Take off. Home point updated.
Okay, so first of all, we will go to the static position somewhere over here, and we will shoot a few times. The first one will be at 5.1K with exactly same settings, and another will be with the 4K. So let me adjust a little bit the shutter speed. So I know already like the aperture about 5.6 is the sweet spot for the sharpness. So in this case, I will shoot at 5.6 aperture here, and I will have to slightly adjust the shutter speed. Maybe a little bit more, something like this. And we will shoot in the D-Log format in both cases. So let me just move a little bit upwards. Okay, so something like that, and then something like this. So I will start the recording of this one for a few seconds, and then from the same position we will do a recording with the 4K. So now let's switch to the C4K. That will be still 30 FPS. So let's do the recording. Okay. So now we will do at 4K as well. Okay, we're good here. So now what I would like to do with the same position, I will switch the aperture and shoot with deeper aperture. But for that, so let me just switch the aperture to the lowest one, something like that, and then I will have to adjust the shutter speed to be at 0. Yeah, something like here. So we will shoot at f11 few seconds. Okay, so the next one we will do at f0.9. So we will also adjust the shutter speed a little bit like that. Okay, so the next one we will do f.6.3. So we'll slightly adjust the aperture again, sorry, the shutter speed. Let's record. Okay, so the next one we will do 5.0 like that. So we'll again slightly adjust the shutter speed to be at 0. Yeah. Okay. Now let's move to f.4. Also adjust slightly the shutter speed. Well, yeah, here, yeah, I cannot be at 0, but let's shoot a little bit overexposed in this case. Something like that. Okay. And now we will do also the most aperture at 2.8, so I will have to decrease the shutter speed even more. So yeah, around somewhere over here. And later we will compare all of those, how they look like. Okay, so we're done with this one. I will land and then we will see the actual footage and see the results. So now let's get the answer. Is it worth to record in 5.1K on Mavic 3 Pro or 4K is just enough? Especially considering if you targeting 4K output anyways at the end of your pipeline. And the first thing I would like to demonstrate here is the difference between 5.1K and other two formats, the 4Ks, in terms of the resolution. So this composition here is 5.1K, and this is how C4K looking compared to the 5K version. And the difference is quite significant, so it's 25% of a difference from the 5.1K. So those now basically essentially matching to each other. And what I would also like to show you here is the regular 4K version. And it's a little bit smaller, which is expected because it's 840 pixels. But the interesting here that I also would like to show you that we do have a little bit of more information here at the edges, right here. And another thing that I would like to show you before we will move on to the next section of this video, that let me just rescale the 4K version output to match the 5.1K. And if I will just play somewhere over here, I will zoom in. So that's the 5.1K version. And just take a look at the noise level that we have in this output versus the 4K version over here that I have. And you will notice that the 4K version have significantly less noise in general already. So that means that Mavic 3 Pro, while converting to the C4K output and 4K as well, it's already doing some sort of denoising on top of that, versus the 5.1K, it just records straight out of the sensor the data. So the 5.1K should be superior versions over the rest technically, that records most data from the sensor. However, it has significant level of noise that you will have to handle in the post process, which we will come later on in this video. And we will start with f11 here, and I will just proceed forward with different f-stops that we recorded. So this is f11, this is f9, and that's the difference. So not a big difference between these two. They both looking quite blurry. And then if you will take a look here, this is where the difference starts to be obvious. So at around f6.13, you actually get in much sharper image if you look at the windows. So with f5, those between 6.3 quite the same. So I would assume this range is safe to use if you want to achieve the best sharpness. So f6.3, f5, f4 as well, looking quite the same, but it already starts a little bit to blur out compared to these two. And then f2.8, this is already, as you can see, started to look much more blurry compared to f5, for example, right? So you get in this softness on the windows. So the verdict here, if you would like to achieve the best possible sharpness, go for the range between f4 and 6.3. This is somewhere where you can expect the more sharp output in general. And now let's actually take a look at the noise levels, which I mentioned before, and see what we can do in DaVinci Resolve specifically to reduce the noise and how it compares to the actual C4K raw output versus what we can achieve. So now we're here in the 4K composition, which is the regular 3840 pixels, and both are rescaled already to match the composition scale overall. As you can see, it still have black bars because they don't have that information on the top and the bottom. But now let's investigate what actually happens with the noise and how we can improve the 5.1K output. And in DaVinci Resolve, there is basically two methods of reducing the noise. One is temporal and another is spatial. And let's take a look how all of them working, right? So the first thing you would like to do, you would like to play with the temporal time sampled denoising options. So if you will go here, I already have this preset turned on. Let me just switch off this guy for now. So you have this temporal noise reduction, and in general, 3 frames, 5 frames is basically what I'm using in my case. And let me just zoom in and show you what exactly happens when you're doing it. So if I will just switch it off for now, sorry, I will just do it like this. So if you will switch it off, that's the original, sorry. Yeah, so that's the original noise that we have in our 5.1K output, right? And when you're applying the temporal noise reduction, what it actually do, it will sample the nearby frames and find out the difference, and then we'll just try to reduce noise level. So if you will just switch it on, you're already noticing that now you have much less visible noise overall here. And let me actually go here so that I can play it out for you. I have pre-rendered because it's kind of time consuming and I cannot play real time the denoising. So this is again the 5.1K raw output, which I can play real time for you. So that's the noise level. Then what I done the pre-render with the temporal noise reduction, which is this one, and as you can see, that's the difference. And the denoising luminance, which I had in the options, I was just trying to match as close as possible to the 4K output. Right, so if I will just play it out, you can notice there is still some noise, but it's much less already than the original 5.1K footage. And this one is roughly matching to the 4K output, which is this one. So if I will just play it for you, that's the 4K straight out of the drone, which is kind of matching our current denoise level with just the temporal noise reduction. But we can go a little bit further, and as you've seen over here, if I will just go over here, there is also this spatial noise reduction, and what I'm usually using, I'm using AI ultra noise reduction, with it quite expensive to do, but it actually helps to reduce most of the noise completely. And the more you will go with the values, the more noise it will reduce, but it will also introduce more softness into the image. So that's the downside. So now let me just switch off and I will show you how it actually looking. If I will just show this. So again, this is 5.1K raw. This guy here is the temporal one. And let me just zoom in so that you can see the difference. And this one is plus the AI noise reduction. So as you can see here already, the image is pretty clean. So if I will just play it out, you will hardly see any noise at all. And the last thing that I also want to show you, usually I am also doing the sharpening, and I'm just adding a sharpen filter with the 1.3 sharpen amount. And this is how all the noise reduction which we see here, including the AI, will look like with the sharpened one. So let me just zoom in so you can see. So we will get a little bit more sharpness in general, overall, but it also will a little bit add more noise just because it will open up more of this, contrasty pixels. So if we will just play this one, that's how it looks. So this output here, to my eye, is a little bit better than the original 4K version straight out of the drone. If we will compare our sharpened result over here with the raw result out of the drone, so that's essentially the difference. Let me just remove the mask which I have over here. Yeah, so that's the C4K straight out of the drone, and this is our version with all the denoising plus sharpening. And if I will just zoom in and play to see the difference, so that's the AI plus sharpening, and that's the output from the drone raw without adding anything there. So the drone footage has a little bit more noise in general and a little bit more soft, but again, because that one doesn't have any sharpening on top. And if we will add same sharpening filter on this guy, so let's actually do it, and with the same level, 1.3, so around here. So that's the amount I was using on that pre-render. And if I will just even compare static frame, so that's essentially the difference. As you can see, the C4K, the straight out of the drone version has quite a lot of noise compared to our final output from with all the processing that we done, right? But same time, you can also denoise the C4K version before sharpening, and it will give you roughly the same output. And again, we zoom in here like 300%. So if I will zoom out to around here, 100%, you will probably don't notice much of a difference, right? So from that scale, they look almost the same to my eye. And then once you will upload to YouTube, it will have also some compression on top, and the quality will reduce even more. So does it worth it? At the end of the day, probably not. And before we'll wrap out this investigation video here, I will also want to show you this output. So that's all the processed images that we have. I will just keep it playing, that we just seen. And that's again the 200% crop from left to right with all the details. So that's our RAW, which is quite noisy. So the temporal here at 5.1K is roughly matched to the 4K output on the right. And then on top we have the AI denoising plus the sharpen on top, which is usually what I am doing for all my videos. And again, does it worth it? If you want to invest a little bit of time of doing this noise reduction, sharpening, and all of that, then maybe it worth. You will get a little bit cleaner and sharper image. But at the end of the day, once it's on YouTube with 100% resolution, when you see it there, you will hardly notice any difference. So again, if you have time, you can do it, but honestly, it doesn't worth it. So 4K, C4K or 4K, the 3800 pixels, I think is the way to go in general. So that was the end of our video today. And if you like this kind of content, please like and subscribe. It will help tremendously to grow the channel. Thank you and see you on the next one.